Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Before we get into what's on the docket today, hit that subscribe button, share, like. We try to be here for a long time and a good time. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah, bro, I'm doing good, man. Doing real good. Moving up in the world. You have dudes ask me after games that they can be on the podcast and lay up lines and everything. I guess we're doing something right.
I guess we doing something right. And obviously, you are the face of the Bench Mob podcast because the person that asked you knows two of these faces personally and did not ask us. So
Oh my god.
oh man, yo, on tonight's docket, what we have for y'all. We obviously gonna give you the round one wild card reactions, looking at the next matchups that's coming up. Warriors, are they giving up? Are they throwing in the white flag? Jimmy Butler. That's a very ugly breakup low end. We said we would talk about it last week, but obviously, based off the comments, y'all enjoyed us talking about Drake and Bron. So we had to push it back to this week's episode. And we mentioned this kind of hit the rewind when Calipari ended up leaving Arkansas.
Mm.
That was the number three ranked most viewed video last year was the conversation of Calipari to Arkansas. Would UK be anything with Coach Pope, hope for Pope? We gonna talk about that on tonight's episode. What has happened? Obviously, you can see if you're watching this, Miles definitely is going to have a lot to say on this. We'll remind you where his stance was once that conversation starts. But let's
Oh
get
my.
into it right here. Round one, wild card. We had some predictions. Some of them was right, some of them was wrong. One of them that we all were wrong. All three of us. We picked the Chargers to beat the Texans.
Mm.
What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
Oof. They need to sign T. Higgins or somebody because the Chargers, they're not going to get it done if they're running with Quentin Johnston, who that was an awful pick. They're going to have to deal with it, but that was an awful pick. And then not much else. Like they got Ladd, but that was the whole offense. Like he had 9 catches, 200 yards, a touchdown, but you're not going to win if that's all you can do. Like, and Herbert again didn't show up in the playoffs, 4 interceptions. Um, I know Acho, he's got other things to worry about, but he was on to something with the whole social media QB because I mean he hasn't really proven anything yet. So, but it was a good start to the regime for Harbaugh over there. But C.J. Stroud, after that first quarter, he looked a lot better, more crisp. Nico Collins stepped up. That defense really stepped up and put pressure on them, and they can They can create some turnovers. Like Stingley playing like an All Pro. That secondary is really good. So Kansas City, I mean, it's expected that they're going to win this week, but it shouldn't be like a cakewalk. I don't think they can overlook the Texans in any way. Like the Texans can possibly beat them this week, depending on how the refs want to swing it.
Well, look, man. The only thing I take any kind of opposition to that Miles said is the idea that Herbert is a social media quarterback or something, right? And we're quoting Acho, who we all know is not my favorite guy. Um, but look, they said the same thing about Stafford before he got with a great, in a great situation, a functional situation. Obviously, he had Calvin Johnson and offensive weapons, but Detroit couldn't get out of their own way when he was there. The Chargers have a very similar curse on them. It's very similar to what Detroit was before Dan Campbell came in. The team can't get out of their own way. They're losing. They are just a losing franchise. They have a losing mentality, and the losing follows them. And it just seems to find them in the most inopportune times. But yeah, you're not gonna win. We're not gonna win with the gimmick. You're not gonna win with this idea that you're gonna ground and pound, run the football 35 times in a game like it's college. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, Jim. You're not in college anymore. Go get some wide receivers to go help this guy out. I'm not saying taking Joe Alt was a bad decision. He's a great young player and is going to be a really good player in the league for a long time, potentially a Hall of Famer, that's fine. I think he could be that good. But um, you can't run out Quentin Johnson, Lad McConkey, who's a good player, just not good enough. Not good enough. And you lost, Mike Williams, who was one of his favorite targets. Now, granted, he's not the same player anymore, but still, you just at that point, we're taking away an asset from a group that's struggling. You need all the assets you can get. You can get. So the Chargers are going to have to go out there and try to rectify that problem, getting good wide receivers in the draft. And I don't know that overspending for T Higgins is the way to go, but you could. And trust me, Herbert's going to make the most out of having him because he likes to throw the big targets, like C. Mike Williams and so forth. So you can't have a receiver out there playing major snaps who has two spatulas for hands. It doesn't make any sense. So here we are, but yeah, they try to win with the gimmick. I think Harbaugh and them got a little full of themselves. I do believe that. I think Harbaugh believed his own hype that he'd come in and he's the culture changer, and that's why we all did, and we all were fooled by it. And I think we all really it's less about that and more about how the Texans were playing at the point. They hadn't been playing well all year, but I didn't see that coming. And I'm happy CJ won the football game. But I'll tell you one thing right now. In my opinion, Justin Herbert does not change. That guy is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He is a top five talent, top five level quarterback in the sport. I don't think there's any debate about that, to be honest with you.
To your point, though, Joe Alt still was the right pick because it'll probably pay off later on down the line. As we see on the flip side, when you look at a quarterback like Joe Burrow,
I know.
he would have loved to have Penei Sewell a year like they just had. So Joe Alt will pay off. They'll eventually get the wide receivers, I believe. To your point, though, maybe it would have worked the gimmick of rushing the football if they actually rushed the football. J.K. Dobbins only had 9 rush attempts as a team. They only had a total of 18 rush attempts, which was not their identity. So it did not pan out the way that they wanted to and what we thought would happen. One that we definitely got correct, we all chose for the Vikings to lose. There doesn't need to be the discussion of our biggest takeaway per se. The discussion really from this game is Sam Darnold. He ends off the year 2 games, back to back games, crucial games where he did not show up. He's about to be a free agent. What type of contract do you think he's going to see now that he had 2 back-to-back bad games? Are we still seeing him in that starter range of the 40 million per year type of interest? Or do you think he's going to sign one of those backup quarterback, bridge quarterback contracts because of how he ended off his year?
I think he gets starter money from somebody. Somebody's going to give him starter money. He had a good year. Granted, the last two performances going into free agency, not the best tape to have out there, but um, throwing like 35 touchdowns, that's pretty good. That was a pretty good season to have, especially with a few jobs opening up. Like, Oakland is a possibility. I don't know if he'd want to go to Pittsburgh, but hey, that would also be another spot that he could go to too. So I think he'll be in that 35, $40 million range per year. Um, but he's shown his warts. Like that's what we were saying before. That um, you put a little pressure on him and get him off his spot, just like most quarterbacks. He'll he can't operate that way. So um, it was tough seeing the Vikings, win 14 games like they did and get bounced in the first round like they did. But that was possibly the worst matchup they could have gotten. Like Sean McVay, really good offense. They got Puka out there. Like it was lining up terribly for them. Coming on, they're playing the team that's hot going into the playoffs. That defense started to play a lot better, and I think they did it. They did exactly what I said they would do. Like put a lot of pressure on Sam, blitz him, and get some turnovers, and that was the formula to beat them. So I want to see what the Rams can do this weekend in Philly with the snow coming up.
Hey, Greg, so I want to ask you this because I'm pretty sure you're on the same page of the conversation regarding Sam Darnold. We all talked about the ghost that he saw. JJ McCarthy, though, It's been said by executives, it's been said by scouts that JJ though, they feel if he was in this draft class, he would be the number one quarterback over Shador, over Cam Ward. For you, do you think the Vikings should go all in on McCarthy or still bring back Darnold to be a bridge or to be a backup for McCarthy?
They should go in all in on JJ McCarthy because Sam Darnold's a known commodity. Sam Darnold in that game basically lost them the football game. And I know people think that's crazy because there's a lot more going on. Than just Sam Darnold, but he was hanging on to that deep shot read the entire time in the pocket. He's over here trying to look for the 50-yard bomb down the field, and while that's happening, he's holding on to the ball, holding on to the ball. The pass protection wasn't that bad. They sacked him 9 times, I think it was in that game. 6 of them were probably on him, just holding the ball, looking for the deep shot, and not just taking the completion. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. Believe Kevin O'Connell, because he said after the game that completions devastate a defense, and they have an effect, a positive effect over time for the offense. The more of them you can get, he should have been taking the checkdowns that were there, moving the football like a veteran on the other side. Stafford would do, right? He's trying to make the big play, the big splash play, because he's starting to believe his own hype, and that hurt him in this game. That hurt him. So for me, I don't know that just goes away, and you can unteach that to a 27-year-old. I'll take my chances with the guy you drafted in the first round last year, pick number 10, and go from there. But I'm not trying to build around Sam Darnold. I think we know what Sam Darnold is. He's come a long way. He's gotten better, but again, the warts in his game showed their ugly face in this one, and he'll still go get paid somewhere else, like Miles said. But it shouldn't be in Minnesota based on what you've seen in that game. You're not going to undo that.
We'll see what happens. And like you said, because it is a summer where it's going to be teams that need a quarterback, somebody will probably take that chance and pay him that money. He'll get paid. We saw Kirk Cousins get paid and then got benched. So if I'm Sam, I'm taking the biggest bag. And if y'all bench me, y'all bench me. I got the money guaranteed. I'm good either way. Especially Sam, who had, again, the ghost coming. We didn't see this happening with Sam. So anything right here is icing on the cake for Sam Darnold. I think we've seen his ceiling, and it won't go any further than that. Looking ahead to next week, we have some pretty good matchups in the AFC, right? Chiefs, Texans, Bills, Ravens. We'll start off, and we're going to give it to you this way for each playoff matchup. We, of course, will give you our picks, but we will share, just to give you both sides of the coin, what each team has to do to actually win the game. Now, in a situation like Chiefs Texans, maybe it's not much we could say for the Texans, but we're going to try to give you best case scenario what the Texans need to do to actually win the game. Starting off there, we're going to start with the Texan side of it. Chiefs Texans, what game plan, what do they have to do to actually beat the Chiefs in Kansas City?
The-
Put pressure on them. I mean, you got Will Anderson, you got Daniil Hunter, two really good edge rushers in this league. Like, if you can get him off his spot, sure, he's great playing off platform, but if you can get to him, because this isn't like a Chiefs offense that we've seen in the past that can put up a lot of points. Like, it's been heavily talked about how they're one of only teams, the only team that has a winning record that hasn't scored over 30 points this year. So it's not going to be a shootout. If you can put pressure on Patrick Mahomes and make him make plays with the weapons that he has, I mean, they started to slowly incorporate Xavier Worthy towards the end of the season. So I'm interested to see what Andy Reid has up his sleeve for this game. But like the running game, Kareem Hunt, he's cool. Pacheco's coming off the injury. Like the main focus is on stopping Kelsey because they're locked in. That connection's there, and limiting the explosive plays from Worthy. Like if you can slow those two guys down, I mean I don't know what the Chiefs are going to be able to do offensively as far as moving it down the field and um, really putting up points. Like this could be a game where we see it end up being like 17-14 or something like that. Because the Chiefs defense is still pretty good, but this Texans defense, they get after it. They'll turn you over. So that's the other thing too. You got to get him to throw a couple interceptions, maybe fumbles in the pocket. So the Chiefs, they should be a little worried about this team. Like it's not the most ideal spot to be in playing the Texans, coming off a win where now they have confidence. Like these teams that don't play for 2 weeks, they haven't really seen anything since the regular season ended, and since those guys rested, it's really like 3 weeks they've been off. So uh, Chiefs could really come out slow. So attack them early and um, get him off his spot.
Greg, give us the other side of the coin. What do the Chiefs need to do to win the game? Coming off, like Miles said, they basically had 3 weeks off. What do they need to do to actually advance to that next round?
That's gonna sound crazy, but maybe not. Just do what they do because they know how to win games. And look, their defense and their ability to stop the run, don't allow the Texans to get Joe Mixon going, and keep Pat Mahomes on that cold sideline all afternoon or for the most of the afternoon. If you can stop the run, then you control the football game. In my opinion, you got to be able to win up front, which they've been able to do all year consistently. Their defense has been their bread and butter. So if they can do that, you have no doubt about what Patrick Mahomes is going to go do on defense. Although I'll say the Texans are playing well defensively, and Stingley's a really good player, and they've got some good linebackers, some good safeties in the mix as well. Their front four is pretty solid with Daniil Hunter and Bronny James Jr. on the other side. So when you look at it that way, you got to give them some credit for what they able to do defensively, and you got to respect them defensively and what the Texans are going to bring. It's not going to be a cakewalk for that offense, for that Chief offense, especially when they've been off as long as they've been off. But they're the champion, so again, they find ways to win. We know it's been frustrating sometimes. You think they're going to lose the game, and they go win it in spite of their mistakes as well. But yeah, stop the run. Don't let Joe Mixon control the football game, because it's going to make CJ Stroud's life a lot easier. And can you get to CJ Stroud and affect him? Which Spags going to send the pressure. You know that already. Third and long, third and medium. He gonna go after you. So offensively, you know what they do. They're going to have things schemed up as well. But it's going to be really interesting to see if Derek Stingley Jr. and those corners can get under the skin of those wide receivers on the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have been cheating the system for a long time, trying to get pennies on the dollar, trying to get Dollar Tree wide receivers for a while now. And so we'll see if that comes back to bite them here against a really good secondary. But I think ultimately the scheme will win out. Reed's a genius.
I think we got the title of the episode right there. Dollar Tree wide receivers. That might be the title right there. Looking at the other game in the AFC, probably the more exciting game of the AFC. When you look at the numbers afterwards, probably had the most views, as Braun had to realize afterwards that the NFL actually owned the NBA. They didn't own Christmas, which he said on New Heights Show. Travis Kelsey, Chiefs. But the more interesting game, probably Bills, Ravens. What do the Ravens need to do to win this game? Instead of me choosing whoever want to step up first, you get to choose the Ravens.
Oh, Miles is in thought. Miles is in thought. Look, the Ravens got to do what they've done all year to win football games. Run the ball with Derrick Henry. Give him the football. Let him get in the rhythm. Even if they're stopping the run early in the game, you got to establish it. What you don't want to happen is for this game to fall into a shotgun battle where you're playing from behind because the Bills punch you in the face, and now you got to rely on Lamar Jackson to make throws down the field repeatedly over the course of the game. If that's what this turns into, we've seen that movie before. We saw it last year. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And as great as Lamar Jackson is, and I think he's gotten better as a passer, even since last year, I don't think that he's going to win that battle against Josh Allen. That's not where his strength lies. His strength lies in being able to have the threat of the run and marry that with the pass. And you can do read option. You can do RPO. down the field, and you can take those shots down the field because they're stacking the box because they're worried about number 22, or is that the number he's still wearing these days? I'm not even sure. Derrick Henry as well, and
Yeah,
so he's
22.
22. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's the big thing. I think they have to do. They have to be able to run the football, and they have to stick with that run game. They have to have some conviction in it and believe that it's going to work. Because that's why you brought him here. You brought him here to use him in these moments. This is it. Like this is your opportunity right here to get over the hump. You don't piss that away by trying to get into a shootout with Josh Allen. And that's not the way this is going to go. And I'll say this too. And I know Tone might go here because this is the way he thinks. But I'll say it just in case he doesn't. No matter what happens in this game, Lamar Jackson's the MVP of the NFL. And I know this is, this game going to be like the Boston Celtics versus the Lakers in 1984, with the way this country's going to be divided. Trust me. So I won't say too much more than that because this person just followed me on Instagram. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm going to get myself in trouble. But, but trust me, I know people who are very pro Josh Allen. And I'm not saying Josh Allen he had an amazing year. I love Josh Allen, but Lamar Jackson's numbers speak for themselves. He deserves MVP. He outperformed him this year, and Josh just came up short. It's like going up against prime Bron. You know what it is? But don't compare Lamar to LeBron. Don't do that.
Miles, what is Josh Allen? And we could probably say the same thing about the Chiefs with the Bills. What does Josh Allen and his Dollar Tree wide receivers need to do to go win this game? Outside of Kincaid, respect to Kincaid, but the rest of that wide receiver core, Dollar Tree, maybe Family Dollar.
I
Well,
mean,
cool.
they've been making it work with Ty Johnson dumping it off to him. He's turned into their receiving back, and Khalif Shakir, he's their underneath guy. So I think what they need to do is win the time of possession. Because if you take the ball out of Lamar's hands as much as possible and slow him down, and now he's cold because it's going to be cold and it's going to snow on Sunday. So um, if you're able to do that, and I think with the game plan that Joe Brady has, of we don't need to go for the big shots, just get the first down and keep it moving down the field, and then we'll get to the red zone and score. Like that's been working for them all year. Like you're not going to see too many just bomb plays. You'll see him occasionally just because Josh Allen's so good, but now you're not seeing him take as many chances as he has in the past. Like he's trusting the guys that he has and letting them work. And then James Cook, if you let him cook, no pun intended, against this team, then that's another weapon that they've had. I mean, he's I think tied for the most rushing touchdowns in NFL, or at least top two. So if you're able to do that for the Bills, then you can win this game. I think they. I'm not going to be controversial, so I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But if you do everything that they said or I said, then they should win this game.
On the flip side, NFC, we got the Lions, Commanders, we got the Eagles and Rams. First one, Lions and Commanders. Is this even? Of course, it's NFL football and it's the playoffs, so there's always a chance. But it's us here talking. This is a safe space. Is there any chance that the Commanders actually beat the Detroit Lions?
I feel like there's always a chance. I mean,
Hmm.
the way Jaden's playing, I do think that we'll see the game plan that Aaron Glenn has for him because it's different. Like rookies going against different schemes, and they've had 2 weeks to kind of game plan for this possibility. So they might throw a lot of different things at him. If he's able to still play his game and make plays with his legs, and Terry's involved and all that stuff, then they can keep this close. Like the Lions have lost a lot of pieces on defense, but they don't miss a beat. Like that game against the Vikings, that was as good a game plan as I've seen this year defensively, and they didn't have like they had like one or two of their starters from day one. Um, so if Jaden's able to make plays and play his game, and also control the time of possession. I said the same thing for the Bills. Like if he can control the time of possession, then anything's possible. Like there's a lot of pressure on the Lions right now, and they've never been in this position before. 15 wins, a bye in the first round. This is uncharted territory for them. And yeah, Jared Goff is great, but he can be beat. The Lions can be beat. So I wouldn't put it past them to keep this game close. And I mean, we've seen Jaden when the games are close. Like he can win those games.
I'm gonna say what you didn't say. Jaden Daniels is so much better than Jared Goff that this game could swing in the Commanders' favor. It could. The better we know, we watched enough football at this point to understand that the better quarterback in these situations can usually come out on top. Jaden Daniels is a top 5 quarterback in the sport already, in my opinion. I don't. That's where I would go with it. That's how good I think he is. I'm serious. I don't think many quarterbacks in the league throw a better deep ball than him. I don't think many quarterbacks go through their reads better than him. He marries his ability to run the football and pass it at the same time. He's really really good. And see and Miles, it's funny. I'll tell the chat right now what he said. Miles said C.J. Stroud was top 5 was top 5 last year. He was. He was. I mean, yeah. I mean, he had a great rookie year. I'd like to have a debate about who had the better rookie year between these two guys, and that'd be a fun one as well. But and I'm not going to like throw out C.J. Stroud's rookie year because Jaden Daniels is having a great one, but he is, and it's his performances in the big moment. If this game is tight down the stretch, I'm telling you right now, if this game is tight, if the Lions don't punch them in the face and keep them down and step on them when they have a chance to, the Commanders will win the game because I don't. There's no quarterback in the league I trust right now more in a big spot than Jaden Daniels, outside of Patrick Mahomes. All right, Patrick Mahomes, he only got the exception. He deserves that respect. But outside of Patrick Mahomes, there's no quarterback I trust more in the big moment right now than Jaden Daniels. He's been that good, and he deserves that respect. And I think he is going to be considered a top 5 quarterback when it's all said and done. Certainly, at the end of this year, you have to look at him that way. He has been phenomenal. He's revived that team. They're not that talented, so he's just carrying them. He's just carrying. They're not that talented defensively. He's just carrying them, having those guys believing that they can win any game, and that's a dangerous thing for the Lions. It's not going to be a cakewalk for them. And I would have rather have seen the Buccaneers than seen them. I'll tell you that right now.
You mentioned a great question, and it wasn't on the docket, but this is what you get when you tune into the Bench Mob Entertainment podcast. He mentioned Jay and Daniels rookie season versus CJ Stroud's rookie season. Which rookie season was actually better in your opinion?
It's close. It's really close because CJ Stroud, for everything we're saying, did a lot of the same things in the big moments last year too, and elevated that franchise for sure. He walked into Nico Collins, and Jaden Daniels walked into Terry McLaurin. But outside of Terry McLaurin, that's pretty much it, right? I think he had Nico Collins last year and Tank Dell, who he was throwing the ball to as well, and Schultz. So when you think about the talent disparity between both teams, it might be Jaden Daniels because I think when you look at the offensive weapons, Ertz is really good, but they got Ertz is on his last 1,000 miles here. We're talking about we're reaching lemon status here at this point in his career as well. So I really got to give it to Jaden, man. Jaden was phenomenal, and again, that team was dead in the water. Again, a lot of he came in. This is the first year of a new regime. A lot of the players that are already here aren't going to be here long term. He started to whittle guys out, and they had cut Emmanuel Forbes, the first round pick from the year before, and all that stuff. And so they're in a time of transition, and you still get them to the playoffs and win a playoff game. I know I just don't see how we can say that Jaden Daniels rookie season was worse than anybody you'd ever seen. This is one of the best rookie seasons I've ever seen in my career, in my life. And I mean, I know CJ obviously had a historic one, but he had more talent to work with. I think that's just the thing. That's the only way I look at it. From an offensive line perspective, from a receiver perspective, an offensive weapon perspective, I think CJ had more to work with. So I'm gonna go over Jaden Daniels.
Throw out the stats before Miles gives his pick. Jay and Daniels this year, 3,568 yards, 69% completion percentage, 25 TDs, 9 interceptions with 891 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. So if y'all know basic maths, that's 31 touchdowns total for CJ Stroud, his rookie season, 4,108 yards passing, 23 TDs, only 5 interceptions. Who do you have that had a better season, rookie season? You're on mute. And by the way, significantly different in rushing yards total. He only had 167 yards rushing with 3 touchdowns. Throw that out there.
Turnover wise, CG was better last year, or as a rookie, and that was one of the biggest selling points on his rookie season from last year, was that he didn't really turn the ball over. He was real efficient and took care of the ball. Um, I still would say Jaden Daniels had a better year. This year kind of felt like a more advanced rookie Lamar or second year. Well, let me not say that second year he won MVP. So um, this felt like a Lamar type of season where you got the rushing when you needed it, timely rushing, and making plays with your arm too. And for him to win in Washington, and they won what 12 games this year after being a poverty franchise with Dan Snyder running things, and this is what their first playoff win in about 20 years. I think they said 19, 20 years. I'm taking his season over CJ's just for that fact alone. Just like it felt more impressive. Some of those wins, him going toe to toe with Joe Burrow, him winning on the Hail Mary. Like there were more pop moments for Jaden Daniels than I feel like CJ had last year. So I'm rocking with JD.
Other game where we definitely probably will have a different answers. Eagles Rams. Who do you see coming out winning this game, especially with how the Eagles did not look that good in their win versus the Rams? Granted, it was the Vikings, but they handled business like we expected. How do you see this game panning out? And as Miles mentioned earlier, it will be snow, which some may say that's a negative for an LA Rams team.
It's gonna be tough. That defense for the Eagles, you shaking your head because you were just born hating Philly. You don't even eat Philly cheesesteaks. That's how bad it is. So, um, of course, I'm gonna take Philly just because I know.
Of course,
Of course, I knew.
you're Philly.
I'm gonna say it before
Yeah.
Greg can say it because
Hmm.
clearly there's a bias.
Of
Um,
course.
that defense is rolling on all cylinders right now. Like running is going to be tough for both teams, I think, with the snow, but um, more so for the Rams, I think, because you got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and now you've got Smith coming off the edge, so putting a lot of pressure on Stafford to make plays and all that stuff. So McVay's going to have to run some quick plays, some slants and underneath stuff to know get past all that stuff, and then running wise, I think the Eagles got the edge. Like you got the best running back in football, one of them, in Saquon. So I think they're going to ride the hot hand, and he could have had like 180 yards last week if he wasn't so nice. Um, so it could be another one of those games this week where you take the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands a little bit and let Saquon make plays. But I do think they're going to try to get AJ Brown involved early and put the bookmark in there so he can make some plays on the field. Um, but I got the Eagles winning this one.
Of course you do. He's on the payroll. Listen, it it annoys me, man. It annoys me the situation here because when I look at this game, I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to outplay Matt Stafford if they can keep Matt Stafford clean. And the problem is, last time the Rams played the Eagles, they could not keep those pass rushers off of Stafford, and they let the Eagles run roughshod through their defense. Like they ran through them like a hot knife through butter all game long. So Saquon had like a record-breaking day that game that night on Sunday Night Football a couple weeks ago. Um, I don't know if they can match their physicality. I just think everything around Jalen Hurts is so good that we're never going to get to the point until they play a great team. A great team, because the Rams aren't a great team. But we're never going to get to the point where we get to really see the issue with the Eagles, which is the fact that they're getting subpar quarterback play. They're getting subpar quarterback play from Jalen Hurts. Period. Their offensive passing game does not operate the way it should for a team of this caliber. It's that simple. All right, but it may not matter in this game because of all the all pros and Hall of Famers they've assembled on this team that get to cover for Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts gets to hide behind that brick wall and throw pebbles every now and then and get back behind the wall. He gets to hide his hand like he didn't throw it. It's nice. The tush push gets to hide behind dudes' asses. This is the reality of the season for Jalen Hurts to this point. And so, look, you can say I'm hating, but I'm not the only one saying it. I'm not the only one saying it. And Shannon Sharp made an astute observation, and he knows more football than I do. He knows more football than I do, and he said, "Hey, look, that passing offense is not operating the way it should." And AJ Brown is clearly frustrated reading a book. Since when does he read? My bad. I don't know. But he over here reading the book on the sideline and all that, and here we are. So I don't know, man. I've never seen him read a book on the sideline before. That's all I'm saying. You guys tell me. But yeah, I picked the Eagles. I just think that they're going to escape and live one more round in the postseason, and they'll inevitably lose to the Detroit Lions. Uh, I think for sure in the next round. I just don't think they can match up.
We shall see. We shall see. It's another slate.
I'm hoping for a Rams win. Just can't say it enough. If God is good to me, I really would love for the Eagles to lose. I'd love nothing more. Sorry, go ahead.
It's going to be another weekend of some good football playoffs, meaningful football, where I think it's safe to say, with mentioning the Hurts of the world, the Lamar Jacksons of the world, the Josh Allens of the world, the Jayden Daniels of the world, and others alike. This is one of those legacy type of weekends. Legacies will be cemented, legacies will be further created and further historic, i.e., a Patrick Mahomes. When we talk legacies, though, you look at Steph Curry and his legacy. Golden State Warriors started off hot, 12-3, and since then they have been abysmal. 28-30, I believe the number is what I saw. You have Steve Kerr, Draymond, and Steph saying it's not wise for us to mortgage the future to just try to win now. That's what bad teams do. That's what bad organizations do. Based off of what y'all seen, are the Warriors preserving their future or are they just giving up?
This
Uh,
is complicated. Maybe. Oh, Miles, go ahead. 'Cause I'm just curious to see what you say. I have my thoughts, but go ahead. Go.
I just don't really think there's a move that they can make that can really change the direction of the franchise. I think they're stuck in at this point. Like Kaminga's cool. They're not willing to part ways. Podzemski's cool, but they missed their opportunity in the offseason to trade him. So, um, I mean, Steph, he can only do so much. I mean, he's what 36 now. Can't expect him to just carry this team uh, this this long moving forward. And sure, like Kaminga, he's averaging I think 16 right now, but that's not a second option on a championship team. Like right now, they don't really have a true second option. Like you get 30 Wiggins. Still, you're not really getting much production out of these two guys. I mean, it's hard to watch the Warriors sometimes just because it's not the same as what we've seen in the past. The movement, and maybe this is it. Maybe this is what we're gonna see from them until these guys retire. It's just I don't want to say going through the motions because they're still gonna try to win, and they'll make little moves here and there, but um, they want to keep Steph here. They want to keep Draymond. I mean, at some point, you know, clock runs out.
I look at it like, look, I I think the new collective bargaining agreement makes it hard for these teams to go all in. The Warriors have been lying to themselves for a long time, to be honest. They're not that good. They're just not that good. And they've made moves over the years. I know getting Andrew Wiggins, I know it led to a championship in 20, what was that, 2021? What was that, 20? Not too long ago, beating the Celtics. I can't remember the exact year because it was such a boring series. Sorry for the Steph fans and all that. Just boring. But they're not that good. They're not that good. They went on, got Buddy healed. They've been scared to pull the trigger on a big move because they know how costly it would be and cost the future. In my opinion, they owe Steph Curry that much to try. They owe him that much. He's given everything to that city. He's given everything to that organization. They owe it to him. Now that you may say that's not logical, and the job of the GM is to be logical, it's logical to show other teams around the NBA that you are going to do whatever it takes to honor and respect the legacy of a hallmark player in the NBA. Like he's a top 10 player all time. You owe him that much. It's the same problem I have with the Lakers. You're dancing. You're dancing around it. Right? You're dancing around this idea of going all in for LeBron James in his final in the twilight years of his career, where he's still playing at all NBA level. It's a joke. It's a joke, and you're telling me Austin Reeves is untradeable, and you're telling me Kuminga is untradeable, and Podminsky is untradeable. Podminsky, who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? Really? Who do you think you're playing with? You know what I'm saying? You got Draymond ready to punch Buddy Hield's 50 teeth out of his mouth any given day because he's taking stupid shots down the stretch of basketball games. Like, you owe it to that. Not Draymond so much, and Draymond is a big part of why you guys have won. He's a heart and soul, but you owe it to Steph Curry to try. I think Steph Curry is just discouraged because he sees the writing on the wall, and he understands who he's dealing with in the front office, and understands that they're not going to go all in and make a move. Even if he took a swing at Zach LaVine, who's shooting 44% from three on seven attempts per game. I know he's not much of a defender, but you don't know when he gets in that culture what you might get out of him. You know what I'm saying? So we're not talking about Brad Beal. We ain't talking about a guy whose back blew out and he ain't the same no more. We're talking about something totally different. We're talking about something totally different here with Zach LaVine. There are some moves they could try to make, man, and they're pussyfooting around it. There's no other way to put it. And I don't think that's a unfair thing to say. I don't. And I think the Lakers are doing the same thing. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Why do Miles leave the screen?
Hey man, you talk about it, and you look. Zach Levine has balled out this year. I have
Yeah.
been, I have been one of his biggest deterrents because of the defense aspect. But if a team like Golden State, if a team like Denver, hey, you might want to make that call, especially Denver. We'll talk about it one of these days. I know it's not a popular thing to talk about of giving Russ credit on this podcast, but hey, Russ, Jokic. I don't know. Braun couldn't figure it out, but Jokic did. Jokic is making it work with
That's
Russ.
what we're
So
doing.
it's something special. I don't know. Jokic has been able to figure it out. We'll talk about it one of these days. Don't know when, but we'll talk about it one of these
I just
days.
want Russ to be held accountable. And Russ like listen to Blast. Play Siri, play accountable by Blast. I just want you to be held accountable. That's all I want you to do, man. That's it. Like I just want to, you throwing shots off the top of the backboard and I just want you to take responsibility for your part in the debacle in LA. If LeBron has something to do with it, that's fine. That's fine. We blame LeBron for everything. That's okay. Let's do that. But I just want you to be held responsible. That's all I'm saying. I like Russ. He's a good guy. He's charitable. Gets back to LA. He's from Compton. He likes to dance. He's fun.
It's from Compton.
Whatever reason.
That's one of the reasons. He's from Compton. He made it
Yo,
out. He's good.
He seems like a great guy. Great player. Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer.
hey Miles, you see? You see how you mentioned the stuff on the court at the end?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, Hall of Fame
Mhm.
player, definitely. He'll make the Hall of Fame, but yeah, good guy though. He gives back. He dances a lot. He
Yo,
jives all on the TV screen,
last year he
Jive.
jiving
said
and
he shouldn't
shucking.
even be in the league. He said he's not an NBA player.
There was a point where that was the case. I don't know, yo, that's crazy, man. I was giving fair analysis, fair criticism at the time, and apparently I was wrong for that. I don't know, guys.
Yo,
I feel like that was fair,
you tried to
huh?
cancel Russ.
Hey, hey, it
He
might have
deserved
been
to
it
be.
might have been fair. It might have been fair during that time for sure.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
been we just gotta have a segment at some point where we gotta get the flowers. He's
that's
playing
fair.
well in Denver. It might be the air, we don't know. It
It's
might
fair.
he's doing something right in Denver. And it was just 2 years ago he was cursing fans out in Denver. But at something working out over there in Denver. Well, one thing that's not working out, it's gonna be like I can't speak for everybody because Greg's been with his wife since birth. But I know me and Miles we here with it. We've been in those situations where you with a girl and it don't turn out too well. Y'all break up and it just get petty. Y'all start taking stuff. You start keying cars. You start doing all crazy type of nonsense because it gets ugly. Nobody want to admit they wrong. They want to make sure that they get every piece of envy, jealousy, hate out, and they taking it out on you. We've been there before. Those that's watching, somebody watching this, I know you've been there before. You have a crazy ex. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I have a crazy ex, couple of them. Miles has a couple of them. Greg, no, he's been with her forever. But this, if you've never had a crazy ex, Greg, this is what it looks like. Over there in Miami, Jimmy and Pat Riley, they predicted it that it was going to get ugly. Jimmy, most recently, had a face-to-face meeting with Pat Riley and stood on business and told him to his face, trade me, I will not be signing back with the Miami Heat. What do you think ultimately comes of this situation? Because we've seen reports from Woj and Sams, I believe, that Pat Riley said, I don't see no offers I like. He's going to suit up again in a Heat jersey after the suspension is over.
I mean, at some point, it's just gonna like infect the team and everything that's happening this year. Like they've started to play pretty good the last few games without him, and I think with all the toxicity going on with Jimmy and Pat Riley, like that weighs on some of these guys, and you never want to pick sides when it's about business, but um, they're trying to win games, and Jimmy at one point was the guy, and I still think he could be the guy for them, but something happened last year with him and Pat Riley, and now things are, you know, irreconcilable. So um, for Miami, they got to make a trade. Like the deadline's coming up in a month. They need to try to, whatever it is, trade him for whatever. He said he's available for all 30 teams, and then he's like, Memphis, I don't want to go there. This other team, So, like Jimmy, make up your mind. If you want to get traded somewhere else and decline your option next year. But um, they've got to get this done ASAP because they're trying to make a playoff push. They're right in the tweener section of the Eastern Conference, and it's not like that's a tough conference. So they can make moves. They can trade for players that can come in and contribute to you know the Heat way and run things through Tyler Hero and Bam and try to make it work that way. But I think it's run its course. Like I don't think there's anything you can do to save this. I don't think Jimmy wants to play another game in a Heat uniform. That's clear. And even if Pat Riley tries to play hardball, let's say he does go back out and play. Who's to say that he doesn't just tank it like he was doing before he got suspended? Like he could just really tank it, and then now it's like now you've got this bad workplace. Other guys are getting affected by this, and I don't think Pat Riley wants that. I think they're back channeling offers, trying to see what they can get, but they might have to take a little hit on what they receive back from a team to give up Jimmy Butler.
Look, I'm not a fan of bad business practices. I think that Jimmy Butler has chosen to battle the wrong guy. He's met his match. All right. We know throughout his career he's been able to bully his way out of situations and all this stuff. For a guy who only plays 60% of the games in regular season, then chooses to miraculously rip open his shirt and he's got a Superman logo on all of a sudden in the playoffs, and now he's playing great basketball out of nowhere. And it was nowhere to be found. It was nowhere to be found during the regular season. Magically, he's a Hall of Fame level player in the playoffs. That act only works when you are one of the best players in the NBA and you're in your prime. Now it's not working. He's not at that same level. We can all agree he's not that level of player. And of course, he could be playing coy again. And again, if the Heat made it to the playoffs, he as the 8th seed, he'd average 25 to 7 and 8. Like that's what he might do. He's capable of that. All right, we know that in spurts, but he's getting older. He's over the hill, and he's got a big cap hit. If I'm the Heat, and I know you're not resigning with me, no matter how tough I am as Pat Riley and how much I want to show him who's boss, I'm trading that guy to get something in return before the contract is up. That is just good business practice in any sport. Vladimir Guerrero, you talked about him. Same thing. Toronto, trade him before he leaves you. He's not staying in Toronto. He told you that. You already know. The same thing with Saquon Barkley with the Giants for all those years. All this BS where you let him walk for nothing and he goes to the Eagles. No, you idiots. Trade him, get something before, because you know you're not going to pay him no way. Just let him go. You keep him around to contribute to a 3-win season or some nonsense. You idiots. It's the same thing. It's the same thing here. You need to make sure that you trade this guy before you get nothing for him. Even if it's a bunch of second round picks, it is better than nothing. And so I just think Pat Riley needs to drop his pride and make a trade. Now, that don't mean you guys send him somewhere he wants to go. And trust me, Pat Riley's not going to send him somewhere he wants to go. Pat Riley could give a damn about his list of preferred teams. I think the Suns are the ones going after him the hardest. No coincidence, obviously. They're going to replace a guy with the blown out back with the guy who only plays like 50% of the season. Seems like a great fit. It seems like the Suns know what they're doing over there. Great job. Great job. But nonetheless, that's what they want to do. And I know they're the only real suitor for him because every team's like, yo, we're not picking this dude up. Like, for what? Like, what if he doesn't opt out of his contract? We're stuck with that poison pill of a deal. There's a lot of reasons why. But then Pat Riley needs to get up off his pride, make a trade. Period. Don't let him walk in the offseason for nothing. It doesn't make any sense. There's no compensatory pick system in the NBA. You don't get one for a guy of that stature leaving you. It's not the way it works. So they need to make a trade. But I think it's that simple. I just think Jimmy's pettiness and I understand some of what Jimmy's saying. Like Pat Riley did call you up publicly. The Heat didn't surround you with all-star cast of players. Of course, Bam was supposed to be that guy. Tyler Hero's becoming that guy, ironically, when you don't want to play anymore. But Bam, he's just always been kind of here and there, here and there. We don't know. It's touch and go. Those workouts with Asian ain't working. And so here we are. Here we are, right? And we're in a situation where it's come to a head. And look, I get the frustration again. I really do on Jimmy's part, but I just feel like you're not that guy anymore. And we need you. It's hard to accept it when it's you, but he needs to drop his pride too and be willing to expand that list of teams he's willing to go to. He does. There's no mending this fence though. Pat Riley's a petty guy. I mean, he didn't. We talked about it. He didn't bring back D Wade. He let D Wade put on a Bulls uniform and a Cavs uniform. He let LeBron leave. He didn't let LeBron have Candy on the plane or some nonsense, or have Mav Carter and his boys on the plane. LeBron, the greatest player of all time, he didn't let him have his way. What do you think he's about to do to you, Jimmy? Jimmy's out of his mind. He's actually crazy. The blue hair dye seeped into his skull and he's lost his mind. If he thinks that he's going to get his way in a situation, he's not. It's not going to end well. It's not. Pat's going to get his way, and it'll be sending you somewhere like to Washington or something crazy. Or send him somewhere nuts. I don't have a realistic location for him to land yet, to be quite honest with you guys. But I wouldn't. I don't think we can expect what Pat Riley is going to do. That's all I'm saying.
That's the thing that I think Jimmy mishandled and misplayed the situation. You saw the energy Pat was on this summer. He was fed up with your nonsense. What you should do and should have done, I should say, rather, should have been a good soldier. You should have came in, played every single game. No one-legged, no one-legged three-pointers fading away, and then you going down the court like, oh, I don't care. Play coy. Play like you love Miami. And behind the scenes, especially at this point in your career, behind the scenes, you handle, hey, Pat, I want out. And I'm confident Pat would have been more than willing to work with you to figure out what list. But now, if Pat could get Qatar on the phone and send you to Qatar, he will. Because you're dealing with, you met your match, two petty individuals, and he's way more stubborn than you because he's been here for a while. Not how it should have been handled. We will keep y'all locked in on what's going on with that, keeping a close eye to it. Of course, on the Phoenix Sun side, we talked about it in our personal chat. They should go get Lonzo, not Jimmy. Lonzo. Lonzo Ball.
A lot of teams will get Lonzo though. It's not just them. A lot of teams can use Lonzo. Lonzo for a run and to go to the he's the best. He's everything is right about basketball. Lonzo Ball. So if the Lakers go get him, they should go get him. Get him back. Go do it. Do it now, right? But you can see that he came back to play for the Bulls, and they're suddenly winning basketball games again. It's clear why they win games. It makes Zach LaVine's life easier. Zach's not a good enough player to be a driving force of winning, but he can certainly help you if you got the right things in place to help you your team win. And that's Lonzo Ball. It makes everybody's life easy. The best, great passer, knock down a D-ball at a great clip, great defender even now as well. It's just super. Just his intelligence on the court. Smart basketball players are at a premium. They just are. And he's one of the smartest guys in the NBA. Truly, top 5. So that's why he has that effect he has, and why we're saying these contenders will go get him. But Phoenix rarely makes smart moves. So, I mean, what happened to Tyus Jones? He's a smart player in the NBA. They're still struggling. I don't know, man. Maybe it's the fact that they've got Bradley Beal on making like $60 million a year with a no trade clause, and his back got blown out. Maybe that's the problem.
To your point, also, and to like Tyus Jones, he's doing the best he can. If you watch his Phoenix Suns game, it's oftentimes that they take the ball out of his hands,
Yeah,
and
right.
he was brought there to actually set
Handle
everybody
it.
up. So it still doesn't work, but I think Lonzo will be an upgrade just off of the strength of he's taller, better defender, which helps out, especially with how that rookie Ryan Dunn is playing over there. He's one of the bright spots for the Phoenix Suns. So far, up until this point in the season, hasn't been that many bright spots for Arkansas. Arkansas Razorbacks are currently the 15th team in the SEC at 11-6. Now, there was hopes and belief that Calipari would go there, and maybe he just needs a year under his belt to get some of his 5-star type of players in, but it has not gone as planned. While you look at on the flip side, Kentucky, the coach that replaced him, they are number 8 in the nation. They are 14-3, 11-0 at home on a 2-game winning streak, and 5-0 against top ranked teams in the nation. Hope for Pope. Is the Calipari magic gone?
Yes, it's gone. It's gone. I'm telling you, it's gone. Like he he doesn't look like he's in it anymore. Like the guy that was coaching AD and Carl Towns and all that stuff, that guy's not here anymore. Like he's not holding them accountable to playing up to the standard of a Coach Cal coach team. Like this is not the same level that you'd expect for a Cal team. And sure, like you'd say that, oh, it takes time, this is year one. Well, this is a different era now. Like people transfer all over. Like if you don't like where you're at, you can go play somewhere else in a year, and it's all gravy. Like they had to they had to basically change the whole program at Kentucky because Cal left and everybody decommitting, leaving here and there, and then Pope brought in his guys, and look what's happening: 15-3, eight or 14-3, eighth in the country, uh, and 5-0 against top ranked teams. I mean, coming into the year, I know some people assume that Coach Pope wasn't going to cut it. We didn't know how he was going to do this. BYU coach, nobody's heard of. He was going to come in and save the day. Some people laughed at it, but I don't see them laughing now. It's a it's a great time to be a Kentucky fan, and it's a tough time to be a Arkansas fan. Um, and sure, like we talked about before, Coach Cal does a great job preparing these guys for the league. But like I said before, college college fans don't care about that. We care about like trying to compete for a championship. See us get past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament and compete for championships. So Coach Cal wasn't cutting it. Bring in Coach Pope, bring in some youth at the coaching, somebody who has a plan. I don't know if Coach Cal has a plan anymore. Um, but Greg knows. Greg, he's a coach. He knows. He knows when you see a good coach.
Yo, Coach Kyle's a good coach. I'm glad. I'm glad that rant is over.
He is a good
Coach
coach. I'm
Kyle.
not saying
Coach
he's not
Kyle's
a good
is a
coach.
great. He's a great coach. And here's the problem. Here's why Kentucky fired him, because I figured it out. I've got the answer now. What happened is, what Coach Kyle's greatest strength is what? Recruiting. That's the best thing he does. What's happened to college basketball and the landscape of college basketball in the last few years? Money getting thrown around, more money than ever. The NIL transfer portal rules are different. They're not as restrictive. It's the wild, wild west. So now it's harder for him to recruit, right? And I think Kentucky knew that. I think Kentucky knew that this landscape and the way it was changing wasn't going to play to Calipari's strengths anymore. I think they were fully aware of what that meant for Calipari and the way that he handles his business and how that was going to affect his ability to win. Because when you look at the years that he was at his best with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and Patrick Peterson and Anthony Davis and Cat and all these dudes and D Book, it's because he was the top dog. He was the best recruiter in the world. That's what he was. He was the best recruiter in college basketball. There was no NIL. There were none of those exterior factors. That has completely changed. And now a school like BYU can go get AJ DeBance to go play there and go soak over there in Utah. So if we're going to be honest, if we're going to be very honest about the situation here and what we're looking at with the looking at with this basketball team and looking at with Calipari and Arkansas, his recruits aren't as good as they normally are. And so you look at DJ Wagner, disappointment. No other way to put it. Not that good. Who would have seen it coming? Not that good. 5-star, all the hype in the world coming out of Camden, not that good. And then the other players are just all unremarkable. Billy Richmond, this guy that was hyped, the recruit that was hyped, 4 points a game. 4 points a game. So it's tough. It's tough. He's got some duds. He's got some duds in his roster. The Boogie Flan kid's playing well, 15 points, but they're losing. So is he really playing that well? You know what I mean? Like it's that's the situation. And Mark Pope is coaching his ass off. You got to give him credit. He's doing a phenomenal job. His playbook is an unbelievable. Of course, I didn't see it coming. Of course, all I had was hope for Pope. He was in Utah. No one would have been watching him at BYU. No one was watching BYU before this. No one knew what Mark Pope was about unless you are an old school Kentucky fan, which again, I guess there's like a bunch of you guys out there that exist and all that stuff, because clearly you were in the comments mad when I said what I said. But I don't retract what I said about Calipari. He can coach. It's just he's no longer his superpower is gone, which is recruiting. It's gone because the NIL changes everything. Who has the most money for my kid, right? And if I don't like it, guess what? I'm transferring. Guess what? You suck, coach. I'm leaving. We don't deal with adversity anymore. And this environment doesn't lend itself to a guy like Calipari being successful or as successful as he once was. And that's why you saw Coach Cal step down. That's why you saw Jim Larinaga step down over in Miami. That's why you saw Bennett over in Virginia step down. It's because of exactly what I'm saying. The tradition of college basketball is watered down because of the NIL situation. Like I said, AJ DeBanster, the best player in the country, could have gone anywhere. Could have gone play in the warm weather. He could have gone anywhere. And that kid went to go play for BYU for like $9 million. Record-breaking NIL, whatever it was. You tell me. You tell me what it is. Mark Pope, this doesn't change what Mark Pope has done and what he's accomplished. I was wrong, but I have no problem being wrong. I do not watch BYU basketball. You couldn't pay me enough to watch BYU basketball. Maybe next year you can pay me. I'll watch him. I'll watch him. But the reality is, I'll stand on that because I didn't watch him before. Makes sense? That's all I'm saying. He's a great coach. He's doing a great job. He's found some guys. Good group. Ortega, a guy from, I think he's from Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, or whatever. I don't know. Went to Oklahoma. He's got some good players over there. Some very good players. They're very well coached. He deserves all the credit in the world for that. But like I said, I'm not giving Cal an excuse. It's just honestly what it is. It's a tougher job to do to go recruit these kids with all of these roadblocks in the way now with the NIL. So it is what it is, man. I think Cal Park can hang it up before we know it. He's there. He just got there, but it wouldn't surprise me. Let's see what he can do in the next few recruiting classes. To judge him so harshly after 1 year there, though, is ridiculous. I will just say that. That's ridiculous. He's there. He don't got his Louis yet, like Dion said. Let him get his Louis. Right now, he got a coach or whatever.
But
Coach.
we're not talking about Colorado. This is Arkansas.
No.
Arkansas has made moves in the tournament over the last 5 years, so it's
What
not
does
like
that
he's
make?
coming to an empty program.
Them dudes ain't there no more. He brought his dudes. He brought DJ Wagner. You want DJ Wagner as your point guard right now? Tell me. You want him? Oh, I didn't think so. You don't want him.
Coach Cal got to think about his approach. He got to
You don't
change.
want him.
I don't know. I know that Arkansas made a point to give him more NIL money, and that's what was it? Kentucky wasn't going to do. They weren't going to up the money they were giving out for NIL. I think they did that just to get him out, because then they opened the books for Mark Pope, and that's how they got all these talented juniors and seniors to transfer over here and create this team that we have now. So two different philosophies.
He's gonna have to adjust.
Totally different coaches. And yeah, like you said, Coach Cal, he's in a different era now where it's not strictly you play for the best coach. I bring you in, we win a lot of games, and then you're a top pick. Like that's dead now because you can make as much money as most guys make in a lifetime in 1 year. Like you said, the kid going to BYU, $9 million, that's crazy. Like I never thought I'd see that, but shout out to these kids getting their money while they, before an injury could possibly happen. So,
yeah, it's just a landscape. Just the landscape. I was wrong about Pope. Say it again. I was wrong.
I'm glad you can admit it.
I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I'm just telling you, like it wasn't like you Miles sitting here like he clairvoyant or something like that. Like he knew that the dude was gonna come in and be the second coming of Greg Popovich. You ain't know nothing. You know why you supported Pope? Because your team went and got him. You do this. As long as your team makes the move, it's the right move. You love doing that. When Aaron Rodgers got to the Jets, it was the right move until it was the wrong move. Now it's Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn's gonna be the right move until it's the wrong move. Oh, Devontae Adams. Oh, that's a good move. It's the right move. It's the wrong move. You love doing this.
This is what happens when people when they're wrong. They start
Juan Soto walks
stuff everywhere.
Before Juan Soto walks, I want Juan Soto. We gonna keep Juan Soto. He's not going nowhere. Juan Soto leaves. Like I told you, he was gonna leave. Oh, F Juan Soto. We don't need Juan Soto. He's ass. He's gonna be on the Mets. We don't need him. He's going to the second-rate team in town. You see what you do. You see what it's on film. You see what you do.
I never said he was ass.
You see, you think you're Raven. You think you're Raven or something like that. That's the problem.
Y'all are no bro. That's it.
You see,
I see you switching from basketball. We touched on all 5 major sports in 5 seconds.
Because you do this. You were right about Pope, but not for the reasons you making it seem. You right about Pope.
I watched college basketball. I've seen him coach for BYU. They made the tournament 2 of the last 3 years he was there.
Okay. Now you're the Pope historian. All right. I'm gonna bet my money.
Historian.
I'll put money on it. Now you're his
You
agent.
are. You just started watching college basketball now that the
Just
boys are
started.
in New Brunswick.
I just started. Yeah, okay. I watched basketball that's my whole life. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I've been watching college basketball my whole life. And I tell you, more people who listen to this podcast have this in common with me. We was not watching no Utah-based team. I don't give a damn what you say. If you say that, then you're lying. There was no exciting player over there. None.
All right. If they're on ESPN late at night, what you gonna do? Play
It's not
COD? Play Call of Duty?
exactly. I'll do
Okay.
that. I'll go watch Suits. That's my show. I'll go do that. I'll go do something different than that. But
Well,
you
I'll
know
tell
what?
you how Suits ends. Mike goes, he moves away, and
You see how he is in the podcast.
I ain't gonna have no special delivery tonight, man. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Bench while we out. Peace.